Thank you, Madam President and committee. Ken, thank you for your insightful words and experiences. And gratitude to everyone assembled today. When I was 7 years old, my best friend told me that his parents hate me and that they told him God hates me because I was a Jew. I was vulnerable at 7 years old. My mind went blank. I was deeply hurt and confused. I grew up in the 1960s as a teenager. I shared some of your friends' experiences also, Ken. I saw arrogance, prejudice, superstition, and sometimes hate in the name of a loving God. I too lost faith in faith. I came to a crossroads in my life where I either had to reject religion or I had to find something at the heart of great religions that was in common, something that could transform, something that could help us to love and live with compassion. I left my home as a teenager, hitchhiking through Europe, through the Middle East, to India. In fact, I began from London. It took 6 months to get to India. I studied, I learned from people who were deeply committed to their religions. I found beautiful, inclusive-minded people who really were striving to live with compassion. And I also found many people who had very extreme and narrow views, who considered that their path was the only path, and all others were ignorant or evil. My study brought me to what the Sanskrit Vedic literature is called Saragrahi, which means one who seeks the essence. And I truly found that at the essence of all true spiritual paths and all real practitioners, that there is transformation. Transformation of character, from arrogance to humility, from greed to generosity, from hate to love, complacency to compassion, from selfishness to a selfless will to serve others. That is the core of true faith. Unfortunately, the world we live, we don't see unity in diversity. In the Old Testament, in the New Testament, the great commandment is to love God with all one's heart, soul, and mind, and to love one's neighbor as oneself. Everyone is our neighbor. In the Sanskrit text, Srimad Bhagavat, there's a beautiful verse that really touched my heart. Savai pong sang paro dharmo yato bhaktir hokshaje ahoitaki aprati hata yayatma suprasidati. That true religion, or dharma, is not a sectarian concept. It's that which inspires and awakens from within us love for the Supreme Being and actual compassion for all beings. The Bhagavad Gita tells, Vidyavanaya sampane brahmani gavihastini suni chaiva svapakecha pandita samadarshana. It's the Bhagavad Gita's way of explaining how to love your neighbor as yourself. An actually enlightened person, one who is connected to one's spiritual essence, the testimony is that that person sees all living beings with equal vision. Because we see the spirit, the living force within people. This body is ever changing, and the mind changes much faster. Who am I? Who's seeing through the eyes, hearing through the ears, tasting through the tongue, thinking through the brain, loving through the heart? That conscious force is sacred. When we come in contact with our own sacredness, we see it within life. Whether one is a Hindu or a Muslim or a Jew or a Jain or a Christian or a Parsi or an agnostic or a Buddhist or an atheist, whether one is black or white or yellow or brown, whether one is from the east or the west, male or female, whether one is a human or a dog or a cat or a cow or an elephant, wherever there's life, it is sacred. When we come in contact with the sacredness within our own hearts, who we are, then we can appreciate how, in truth, we are all related. The Bible, Jesus said, what profiteth a person who gains the whole world but loses their eternal soul? Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita tells, Najayate mriyate va kadachit, that the soul, the essence of our life, is beyond birth and beyond death. When we actually can appreciate that within ourselves, we realize that we are caretakers of sacred property. Our abilities, our wealth, the environment around us, it is all sacred property entrusted in our care. And all living beings are part of the same source. We are all related. The character of any true follower of the various great religious paths of the world is that they live with compassion. They live with humility. True spirituality does not divide humanity. It harmonizes humanity. To be an instrument of a higher power, the power of love, the power of compassion, is what true spirituality is to achieve. Science, academics, technology, politics, like religion, can be used with compassion or could be used with arrogance to exploit. In 1992, I was driving in Mumbai from a lecture late at night. While I was in the car, Hindu-Muslim riots broke out. The places I was driving, I saw dozens and dozens of buildings blazing on fire. I saw numerous human corpses, chopped and stabbed by machetes and knives laying on the roadside. I saw little children screaming, crying, some covered with blood. I remember thinking, in the world we live, there are places where people learn how to hate before they even learn how to reason. At that time, we tried to make a difference. We went to the public schools, some private schools, to teach value education, universal values of character. And we gave examples for each of these virtues from all the various local religions to actually enlighten the students that we have so much in common. Yes, there are so many things to disagree with based on historical interpretations or explanations, based on rituals, based on language. But what is the essence? To love God, to be an instrument of God's love, to find true joy within our hearts and share that joy with others. If our rituals, if our explanation and our historical evidence does not lead us toward the purpose and the goal of religion, which is to love, which is to share joy, then we're going in the wrong direction. We taught thousands of students, young students, what we all have in common. Because you see, there's a vast segment of the world's population that does believe in one religion or not, or another. To actually help people to understand what is that essential virtue that we all have in common. To respect, to appreciate the unity in our diversity is a great need of the world. Actually, losing faith in faith could be a great blessing. Because when we lose faith in sectarian, dividing faith, we have a chance to seriously seek real faith, true faith, the essence of all religions. If we don't lose faith in the artificial, we'll never seriously seek what is genuine. That's the story of my life, and I'm very grateful to share it with you today. Thank you.